Hello and welcome to Chapter 2, The Legal Environment of Forensic Accounting. We're going to cover Learning Objective 3, which is to explain the concepts of burden of proof and standard of proof. Burden and standard of proof. The burden of proof is the obligation of the plaintiff or prosecution to prove liability in a civil case or guilt in a criminal case. The defendant is not required to prove he or she is innocent. It is presumed. Alternative dispute resolution, ADR. Litigation is not the only means for settling disputes between parties. Forensic accountants may also participate in alternative dispute resolutions, ADR, the most common form of which are mediation and arbitration. Mediation is a non-binding informal process wherein a mediator, which is mutually selected by the parties, evaluates the arguments of both sides and helps the parties reach common ground. If mediation fails, the parties may proceed with litigation. Arbitration, on the other hand, is a mini-trial wherein each party presents its case to one or more arbitrators who render a binding decision that generally cannot be appealed. Arbitration is often voluntary but can also be mandatory, required by a statute or a contract between the parties. Alternative dispute resolutions may be preferred over litigation because it is less expensive, it's generally faster, and allows for greater privacy. ADR is often used in disputes regarding complex or technical issues because mediators or arbitrators with the necessary expertise can be selected. The presumption of innocence must be overcome by a certain standard of proof, which describes the amount of evidence the plaintiff must present to prove its case. In a civil case, the requisite standards is a preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not, greater than a 50% probability. Some civil cases, such as civil fraud, must be proven by clear and convincing evidence. Clear and convincing is greater than a preponderance, but no specific percentage can be assigned. In a criminal case, the prosecution has a legal obligation to prove all elements of an alleged offense, such as fraud, tax evasion, or murder, beyond a reasonable doubt. Again, no percentage can be assigned. The applicable burden and standard of proof are explained to the jury by the judge and included in the jury instructions. This figure illustrates the ascending level or standards of proof. The forensic accountant must understand the requisite standard of proof for any litigation engagement and articulate his or her opinion accordingly. In a civil case with a preponderance standard, the expert opinion must be stated within a reasonable degree of professional certainty, meaning more probable than not, greater than 50%. This is critical because expert testimony that does not meet the necessary threshold will be rejected by the court.